My girlfriend dumped me on my birthday, saying, I'm upgrading to someone better and oh, I've taken all our money at. When she realized what I'd done, it was already too late. The notification lit up my phone screen just as I was blowing out the candles on my birthday cake. Laughter filled the restaurant. My friends raising their glasses to toast another year of my life. But the moment I saw her name pop up, the world around me blurred. My name is Chris, and at 39, I have received the most ruthless message in history. Hey, Chris. I just wanted to be upfront with you. I found someone better, someone younger, hotter, and, honestly, an upgrade. I transferred our money into my personal account. Felt fair since I was the one making most of it anyway. No hard feelings. Enjoy your birthday. A breath caught in my throat. The words glowed on my screen like a neon sign spelling out betrayal. I didn't react, not outwardly. No shaking hands. No sudden gasp. No tears welling in my eyes. If anyone at the table noticed anything, it was probably just the way I suddenly sat a little straighter, the way my smile became sharper instead of softer. Congrats, I typed back. One word. No anger. No desperation. Just a simple quiet response. Because what Natalie didn't realize, what she never once considered in her inflated sense of superiority, was that I had been paying attention for months. Natalie had always been arrogant. It was part of her charm at first. The confidence, the smooth talk, the way she could make anything sound like it was her idea even when it wasn't. But then things started changing. The sudden late nights at work, even though her company didn't require overtime. The way her phone was always face down, the way she'd roll her eyes when I mentioned future plans, as if I was naive for even thinking we had a future in the money. At first, it was little things. Her Venmo payment suddenly becoming delayed, a sudden concern over shared expenses when she used to cover dinner without hesitation. Then the big red flag, last month, she suggested we move our shared savings to an account under her name. It's just easier that way, she had said with that dismissive wave of her hand. I'm better with money, babe. I'll make sure we're set. I smiled, nodded, even let her believe she had convinced me. That same afternoon, I walked into my bank and opened a new account. I didn't drain our joint savings, not completely. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I withdrew just enough over time that she wouldn't notice. I moved my portion into the new account, leaving behind just enough to keep up appearances. And now on my birthday, I knew exactly what had happened. Natalie thought she had won. She thought she had taken everything and left me with nothing, except she was about to learn the hard way just how wrong she was. An hour after her text, my phone buzzed again. This time from a mutual friend, Chris. I don't know how to say this, but Natalie just hard launched her new boyfriend on Instagram. She literally posted, "The glow up is real, out with the old, in with the new. I am fuming for you." I clicked the link. Sure enough, there she was, posing in a luxury hotel suite, arm wrapped around a man who couldn't have been older than 22. Long legs, perfect hair, the kind of effortless beauty that made people do double takes. Mark. The same Mark she had told me was just a friend. The same Mark she had sworn was annoying and immature. And yet there he was wrapped around her like a prize she had just won. The comments were ruthless. Okay, queen. Big upgrade. Damn, girl upgraded from economy to first class. RIP to the ex. He must be crying. Oh, how wrong they were. I wasn't crying. I was waiting. Natalie believed she had outsmarted me. She assumed I would do what every man in her past had done, break down, beg for closure, spiral into heartbreak. But the thing about arrogant women is that they always underestimate the men they betray. She had forgotten whose name was on the lease of our apartment. She had forgotten whose credit card she had been using for the last 6 months. She had forgotten that I was the one who had built our savings, while she had only ever contributed in words, not numbers. I stared at my phone, at the texts, at the photos, at the comments that were meant to humiliate me, and I smiled. Natalie had made the first move, but I was about to make the last one. Natalie believed she had already won. She thought she had taken the money, the power, and the upper hand. But what she had really done was set herself up for a fall so spectacular, even she wouldn't see it coming. The first domino would tip over in 3, 2, 1. The first thing I did when I got home, I changed the locks. Natalie had never bothered putting her name on the lease. It had always been my apartment, my responsibility, my name on every official document. Babe, why do all that paperwork? You're way better at that stuff than I am, she had said when we moved in. And now that laziness would cost her. The landlord had no problem when I called to have the locks changed. You're the only one on the lease, Chris. You can do whatever you want. By midnight, Natalie no longer had a home to come back to. At 1 a.m., I got the first sign that reality was beginning to sink in. A single text from Natalie. Hey. Super weird, but I think my key isn't working. Can you let me in? I let the message sit. Read, but unanswered. 15 minutes later, another one. Chris? What's going on? I need to grab some of my stuff. I still said nothing. Because Natalie's stuff, the dresses, the jewelry, the shoes she spent a fortune on but never took care of, everything she had left behind was already packed in trash bags and sitting in the hallway outside. When she tried to enter her old life, she would find herself standing outside a locked door, staring at her belongings like a stranger on the curb. But this was just the beginning. At 8 a.m. the next morning, I made a call to our bank. "Hi. I need to report fraudulent activity on my joint account." The customer service rep's voice was polite but firm. "What kind of fraudulent activity, sir?" I took a deep breath, ready to say the words that would flip Natalie's world upside down. "Money was withdrawn without my permission, and I have text message proof that my ex took the funds maliciously." Pause. "Then, would you be able to forward those messages to our fraud department?" "Of course. Happy to." I sent the proof within minutes. By 9:30 a.m., Natalie's personal bank account, the one she so proudly transferred all our money into, was frozen pending an investigation. The next text from Natalie came right on schedule. "Chris, WTF, did you do? My bank account is locked. I can't access anything." I sipped my morning coffee before replying. "Weird. Maybe you should call your bank?" She called. And what a call that must have been. I imagine the moment the representative explained that her account was frozen due to a fraud complaint, that she wouldn't have access to a single cent until the matter was resolved, that the funds she had stolen weren't as safely tucked away as she had thought. I imagine the slow realization washing over her, that her grand upgrade wasn't going as planned, that Mark's luxury vacation dreams had just crashed and burned, and that I was not the fool she had thought I was. Natalie had booked a rental car for her trip with Mark, a flashy convertible, because, of course, she did. I knew this because I had seen the confirmation email pop up on our shared iPad weeks ago. And guess what credit card she had used? Mine. She had stupidly left the card details saved in the system, thinking I wouldn't notice. So at 10 a.m., I made my second phone call of the day. "Hi. I need to report an unauthorized transaction on my credit card." By noon, the rental car was cancelled. And just like that, Natalie and Mark had no ride to their supposed better life. At exactly 12:17 p.m., my phone rang. "Natalie," I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, another call. Then another. By the fifth attempt, I finally picked up. "Chris. You need to fix this. My bank is frozen. My rental is cancelled. My stuff is in trash bags outside the apartment. You've made your point. Okay?" I smiled, twirling my coffee spoon between my fingers. "Oh, Natalie. I haven't even started." Natalie was unraveling. I could hear it in her voice, see it in her texts, feel it in her desperation, but I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot, because what's the point of revenge if the person who betrayed you doesn't fully understand the depth of their mistake? I was going to make sure Natalie felt every bit of the consequences she had brought upon herself. And the best part? She still had no idea just how deep the trap had been set. Natalie's next brilliant move had been booking a high-end hotel suite for herself and Mark. 5-star luxury, ocean views, private balcony, a fantasy trip meant to be the cherry on top of her upgrade to a better life. Too bad she didn't pay attention to the fine print, because when she transferred all our money into her personal account and that account got frozen for fraud, the pending hotel charges bounced. At exactly 3 p.m., Natalie and Mark arrived at the hotel dressed for a vacation they could no longer afford. I wish I could have seen her face when the receptionist politely told her, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but your payment was declined. And, unfortunately, we've had to release your reservation." Mark must have been thrilled, because half an hour later, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I already knew who it was. I answered, keeping my voice light. "Hello?" A second of silence. Then not Natalie, but Mark. His voice was tight with frustration. "Chris. Hey. Look. I know things are weird between us, but I didn't let him finish. Mark, how's that upgrade treating you?" Silence. Then a sharp breath through his nose. I just need to know if there's something we can do to fix this. Natalie said you froze her account." I laughed. "Natalie said that, did she? And did she also mention how she stole money that wasn't hers? Or how she left me on my birthday like an absolute coward?" Mark exhaled sharply. "Look. I didn't know any of that. Okay? I just thought I cut him off again. You just thought she was an innocent, misunderstood girl who needed saving. Let me guess. She told you I was cold, controlling, that I didn't support her dreams?" The silence on the other end told me everything I needed to know. Mark was finally realizing he had been played. Too little, too late. While Natalie was scrambling to figure out how to pay for a hotel she couldn't afford, the internet was having a field day. Because Natalie, being the overconfident social media-obsessed idiot that she was, had posted about her new life way too soon, and people noticed. The comments started rolling in. "Damn. Girl flex too early, Elmo. Imagine leaving your man for an upgrade just to go broke in 24 hours. Nah. Karma came with express delivery on this one." Even people who didn't know me personally were tearing her apart. And then it happened. The moment I had been waiting for. Her boss saw it. At 4:45 p.m., my phone vibrated again. Natalie, I picked up this time just to hear her sweat. Chris, you need to stop this. She started immediately, her voice low, controlled, like she was trying to sound calm but was failing. I smiled. Stop what, Natalie? You know exactly what. My boss called me today. Oh, I feigned surprise. And why would she do that? Natalie let out a bitter laugh. Because, apparently, some people at work saw my Instagram post, and now HR is involved. That's right. Her company had a strict non-fraternization policy. And Natalie? Natalie had been dating a subordinate. Mark wasn't just a random guy. He was a junior staff member at her firm, and now corporate had questions. Natalie thought she was calling to scare me into backing off. She still didn't understand how completely she had already lost, so I decided to spell it out for her. Natalie, let's get something straight. I didn't do anything to you. You did this to yourself. You stole our money. You played yourself. You lost control the moment you underestimated me. Her breathing sharpened. I swear to God, Chris. No, Natalie. You don't swear to God. You swear to yourself that next time you won't be so stupid. Now if you'll excuse me, I have plans. Enjoy your better life if you can still afford it. And with that, I hung up. Her calls kept coming. I never answered. Natalie was losing control. Everything she had so confidently taken for herself was slipping through her fingers like sand. No money, no hotel, no car, no apartment, and now no job security either. But Natalie, she wasn't the type to go down quietly. No. She was the kind of woman who would set herself on fire just to feel like she was still in control, which meant the next thing she did was the dumbest move of all. At 9 a.m. the next morning, I woke up to a knock at my door. Not a text. Not a call. A knock. Through the peephole, I saw a uniform. Chris Walker? The officer asked as I opened the door. I kept my face calm. Yes. That's me. Is there a problem? We received a report about stolen property. Your ex-girlfriend, Natalie Carter, claims that you've unlawfully kept items that belong to her. I almost laughed out loud. Did she now? She specifically mentioned some designer bags, a laptop, and a few dresses. I stepped aside, gesturing to the hallway where Natalie's trash-bagged belongings still sat. Everything she left behind is right there untouched. She's welcome to take it if she actually comes to get it herself. The officer glanced at the bags. So you haven't prevented her from accessing her property? Nope. But I have prevented her from accessing my apartment, my money, and my life. Is that a crime? The officer smirked. Not at all, sir. Sounds like a civil matter, not a criminal one. We'll be closing this complaint. And just like that, Natalie's pathetic attempt to intimidate me through law enforcement failed. Strike one. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed again. A call from a familiar number, Mark. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. Hello? I answered, keeping my tone light. Chris, I need to know the truth. Mark's voice came through tight with frustration. How much of this did you plan? Plan? I repeated, feigning confusion. What exactly are you accusing me of, Mark? Oh, don't play dumb. Natalie's broke. Her job is on the line. Her accounts are frozen, and now she's crashing at my place like some homeless ex-sorority girl. This isn't just bad luck. You did something. I smiled, swirling my coffee. Mark, let me ask you something. Did Natalie ever tell you why she and I shared that bank account? Silence. Did she ever mention whose name is on the apartment lease or how she's been living off my credit cards for months? More silence. Then softly, almost bitterly, no. She said you owed her that money, that you were controlling, that you'd never let her have any independence. I let out a short laugh. So she convinced you that stealing from me was just her taking back control? Classic. Mark exhaled sharply. God, I was such an idiot. I didn't argue because, yeah, he kinda was. The final nail in Natalie's coffin came 3 days later. Her company officially fired her, not just because of the workplace relationship scandal, though that was bad enough, but because HR had reviewed her expense reports. Turns out, Natalie had been reimbursing herself for fake business dinners. She'd even expensed hotel stays, ones that I hadn't even discovered yet. Her arrogance wasn't just personal. It was professional suicide. And now Natalie was truly left with nothing. The very last time Natalie ever contacted me was 1 week later. Her name popped up on my screen, but instead of rejecting it, I answered. I wanted to hear it. Chris? She started, her voice hollow. You win. I didn't say anything. I let the words hang between us. Natalie sighed. I don't get it. You didn't even try to get back at me. You didn't scream. You didn't fight. You just let everything collapse around me. I took a deep breath, then finally answered. Natalie, you did all of this to yourself. I didn't have to fight you. I just had to watch you destroy yourself. Silence. Then quietly, I messed up, I smiled. Yeah. You did. And then I hung up. I blocked her number, and I never looked back. Natalie was gone, blocked, erased, a ghost in my past. And yet, the ripples of her destruction were still spreading. Not that I cared. I had already moved on. But Natalie was learning the hard way that when you build your life on lies and arrogance, there's nothing left when it all crumbles. It didn't take long for word to spread about Natalie's downfall. Her old friends, they turned on her faster than she could say upgrade. Her co-workers? They had already seen the warning signs before she was fired. And her family? Well, that's where things got really interesting. Because one afternoon, I got a text from an unexpected number. It was Natalie's mother, Laura. I hesitated before opening it, but curiosity won. Laura, Chris, I know you don't owe me anything, but can we talk? I stared at the message for a moment, then I typed back. Me, depends. Are you about to blame me for your daughter's life falling apart? Her reply came instantly. Laura, number, I need to know the truth. She won't tell me anything, and all I hear are pieces of the story from other people. That was interesting. Because if her own mother wasn't defending her anymore, it meant Natalie's charm had officially run out. I agreed to meet her for coffee, not because I cared about Natalie, but because I wanted to see how much damage she had done to herself. When I walked into the cafe, Laura looked exhausted, like she had aged 5 years in just a few weeks. Thank you for meeting me, she said, stirring her tea absent-mindedly. I need to understand how this happened. I shrugged. Your daughter overplayed her hand. She thought she was untouchable. She thought she was smarter than me. Laura sighed. She told us you were controlling, that you tried to ruin her. I laughed, shaking my head. Tell me, Laura, what does controlling mean to Natalie? Because as far as I can tell, it means not letting her get away with everything she wants. She didn't argue. In fact, she looked guilty. We spoiled her, she admitted. We always bailed her out when she screwed up. Her dad and I thought we were helping, but I see now that we just enabled her to believe she'd never face real consequences. I took a sip of my coffee, letting her words settle. Then she asked the real question. Chris, is there any way back for her? I thought about it. Then I said the only thing I knew to be true. Not until she realizes that she is the problem. And by the look on her face, I knew she already understood the answer. I heard bits and pieces over the next few months. Natalie moved back in with her parents. Apparently, they gave her conditions this time. No free money, no reckless spending, and definitely no more boyfriends using her as a stepping stone, which was ironic because Mark had dumped her a week after our last conversation. Guess being the upgrade wasn't as fun when the money ran out. While Natalie was stuck rebuilding her life from scratch, I was thriving. I got a promotion. I traveled. I started a business on the side. And for the first time in years, I felt completely free. No more waiting for someone to grow up. No more walking on eggshells. No more playing a game where the only way to win was to leave the table entirely. One day, nearly a year later, I got a message request on social media. I almost ignored it, but then I saw the name. Natalie. Curiosity got the best of me. I clicked. Chris. Hey. I know it's been a long time. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I screwed up. I should have treated you better. I don't expect anything, but I wanted you to know that. I stared at the message for a long moment, then I deleted it unanswered. Because some apologies? They come far too late. Natalie was nothing but a distant memory now, a lesson, a cautionary tale, a reminder of everything I would never tolerate again. While she was still trying to crawl her way out of the hole she dug for herself, my life was only getting better. And the best part? I didn't just survive her betrayal. I thrived because of it. A year had passed since that awful birthday, since the laughable text message where Natalie declared she was upgrading her life at my expense. And yet, when I looked at where we both ended up, it was clear who had really won because this was my reality now. My career had skyrocketed. That side business I started, it took off. Turns out, when you remove a financial leech from your life, your bank account thrives. I found love again. A real mature, respectful relationship. Someone who didn't need to tear me down just to feel like a woman. I traveled the world. While Natalie was stuck in her parents' basement, I was exploring cities, trying new foods, and finally living for myself. I didn't need revenge because my success spoke for itself. But life has a funny way of wrapping up loose ends. It happened at a mutual friend's wedding. I almost didn't go, but something told me this was going to be worth it. And I was right. Because the moment I walked in, I saw her. Natalie slumped at a table in the corner, nursing a cheap wine, looking nothing like the woman who once thought she was too good for me. Her once carefully styled hair, unkempt. Her expensive dresses, now replaced by an ill-fitting cocktail dress. Her signature confidence, gone. I almost felt bad for her, almost, until our eyes met, and I saw it. Regret. The kind of regret that settles deep in your bones when you realize you traded gold for tinfoil. I gave her a small, polite smile. Then I turned back to my date, the beautiful, successful woman sitting beside me, the one who actually respected me, and I let Natalie watch me move on. Later that night, she finally gathered the nerve to approach me. I saw her coming, but I pretended not to notice until she cleared her throat. Chris. Hey. I turned, giving her a polite disinterested glance. Natalie. She shifted awkwardly. You look good? I smirked. I know. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I guess you heard about everything. My job, Mark, all of it. I nodded. Yep. She let out a short bitter laugh. Guess you're pretty happy about how things turned out. I tilted my head, considering my answer. Then I said, no, Natalie. I don't think about you enough to be happy or unhappy about it. And that was the truth. Her face fell. I'm sorry, Chris, for everything. I wish I could take it back. I sighed, swirling the champagne in my glass. You don't get it, do you? She frowned. Get what? I smiled. I don't need your apology. I never did. Because the second you walked away, you set me free. And now? I gestured to the beautiful life I had built. I have everything I ever wanted. And you? I let my gaze flicker over her worn-down appearance. Well, you have exactly what you deserve. Her jaw clenched, but she had nothing left to say. Because deep down, she knew I was right. As I walked away, I felt lighter than I ever had before. Natalie had been a part of my life once, but that's all she would ever be. A past mistake, a lesson learned. And the most ironic part, she once thought that leaving me would be her greatest success. But in reality, it was mine because I had won the only battle that ever mattered. The battle to live well, love better, and never settle for less again.